All right, Dennis, thank you for hosting at a sick spot. One of the coolest setups we've had for Powerline Podcast. It's been an unbelievable couple days hanging out with you. So just thanks for doing this again. Three-peat episode too.
Couldn't get it right the first 2 times. We figured we'd do it
That's
again.
because it was long distance. It was over Zoom before.
In person's a lot better. And I think we've grown a lot since first time. I think you were in your daughter's bedroom when you started this thing. So
that was crazy, man. I literally had to pull up green screens from downstairs. I bring a green screen, pull it up behind me, prop up my laptop on a layer of like children's books, hit record. Like, okay,
I think I had my like cell phone like just mounted on my desk or whatever when I did the first one with you. So yeah. No, I'm happy to have you out here and kind of experience some stuff. So we've had some fun.
Along those lines, you have a motto that's written on your walls. It's something you live by.
Yeah.
What is that 3-word motto?
Yeah, so live the lifestyle. Obviously, if people know my past or whatever, I started with the fitness center. My slogan was live it, fitness and training is a lifestyle, live it. And, that eventually got shortened up a little bit and just live the lifestyle. And it's living the life that I want to live through my values. And nobody else decides except for me.
Explain that a little further.
Yeah. It comes down to any decision that I want to make. It's mine. Like I'm the solution to every problem I'm going to have. Like whatever direction I want my life to go, like that's the lifestyle I want to live. Like nobody's going to tell me what I can and what I can't do. I'm going to live the life that I want to live. Everybody's like, I couldn't do that. That's too dangerous or that's scary or whatever. No, I want to experience it. And that's how I live.
Is this have you always been this way?
I think it's definitely evolved. Even before like I started my first fitness center in 2014, I was always a go-getter, whether it was line work, whatever I was doing line work, or before that it was sports or athletics or, even in college and high school, like I was always, my nickname was Hardcore Kelly. So I did a lot of things hardcore and full speed, and I still living life.
Yeah, full speed.
The same exact way today.
Experienced that the last couple of days for sure.
Things have just gotten a little bigger, a little faster, and I've learned a lot. But
you said you want to be a solutions provider. What does that mean?
So my values, be a good person, do what's right. Play the long game always, provide value, and solve problems. I feel like if you can do those 5 things, it will always work out no matter what or how it's supposed to, So I literally live my entire life off of those 5 things. So when I sit down with the utility or whatever, somehow, some way, those values pop up in those conversations.
I like that because I feel like, especially early in a career, you come to say we'll just pick an apprentice for sake of talking about line work, because it's probably the audience that's listening to this, right? So pick an apprentice. I've always said, if you can come in, you don't know shit when you come in the beginning, right? You don't know anything. You don't have to. You're not expected to know how to do the job, but you do have a few things that you can bring. You can bring a good attitude. You can bring a solid work ethic.
Yeah.
And you can like look around and find different problems to solve. Yeah. And so I think no matter what, like you sit down with the utility. There's a way
you can provide value for sure. So, and I think, and it doesn't have to be like, you don't have to have a core set of values like I have or whatever. Like think about the values that you want to have. And if you stick to those core values, no matter what happens in life, because there's going to be disappointments, there's going to be, all kinds of things that are going to ruin your day. But at the end of the day, if you could stick to those values, you're going to go to sleep at night. Yeah. You don't got to worry about nothing, because you did everything you could do, and that's all you have. So.
Is coming up with those like core values for you as a person, is that something you did early on in your life, or is that just something you decided to do now being in business? I got to come up with values.
I definitely learned it along the business route, because there's so many people that will disappoint you, let you down. There's so many problems that come. It's something that's learned over time, because you take a beating over the years, so you have to find your set of values so that you can go to sleep at night, knowing that you did everything that you can do and it'll work out. So
do you think it'd be beneficial for anybody to come up with a set of values even sooner?
Absolutely. Yeah. If you could, for sure. Yeah. It's going to get you through that day. It's, you're going to be a better person because of it. You're going to provide more value, solve more problems. Your life is going to grow. So
do you think that had you had sat down earlier in life and actually put pen to paper and thought about creating a set of values for your life in a direction that you can kind of like, almost like a North Star, right? It's almost like a set of goalposts or boundaries or rails that you can kind of bounce off of as you go down and make decisions, right? That's kind of what values are, right?
Yeah.
Does this align with where I want to go and what I want to do? And it's a kind of like a check.
Yeah.
Do you think that's something you could have done earlier, or would you have had to get to a certain spot? What I'm trying to get at is like, is this a good idea?
I think it's something that somebody
to,
like if somebody in my position now, you know, if I had a mentor or whatever, which I've had mentors, but not maybe in that way. I think if there was somebody in my life earlier that could have pointed me in that direction, steered me in that direction, could I have gotten here faster? I think I could have gotten here faster for sure.
Cool.
So, but a lot of it was self-taught. I didn't really have anybody. I had one hell of a mentor that was a pilot. You know, that's why I'm a pilot today. You know, he inspired me to go out and get my fixed wing and then my helicopter and stuff. He steered me in a great direction. You know, like that. You know, I had my high school football coach. You know, he was an awesome mentor that kind of steered me in a good leadership direction. And but I never really had a business entrepreneur mentor by any means. But that was all self-taught. But
how do you approach goal setting?
Oh man, it's always you saw it on the wall this morning. Dream big and work harder. You know, you can dream as big as you want, but you got to work. You got to outwork it. So. That's kind of, I accomplished something, you know, I'm in love with the process. I think that's where you find happiness. So as long as you're progressing in life, whether it's personal, you know, your relationships or business, when you're just stale and sitting and stuff, like that's when you get depressed, you know, that's when you get upset. That's when there's problems. You're just not doing anything. So I really focus on progress and I find a lot of happiness, and that's honestly is what's led to everything that you see right here and what you experienced yesterday. And just like, oh, what's next? You're just always improving yourself. And, you know, how can you not feel good about yourself when you're accomplishing the things that you've accomplished? There's so many times where like I accomplished something and I step back and I look at it, I'm like, wow, that's fucking awesome. Look at this thing. What's next though? So 2018, I opened up my second fitness center. December 28th was opening day. And I remember stepping back and looking at it. And, you know, I just did about 90% of this work by myself. And it's a beautiful place. I mean, you worked out there this morning. Nice place.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, what's next? You know, 6 months later, K&R.
So like Lyft literally started on a napkin or like a
was
piece of loose leaf paper.
Yep, college ruled piece of paper. It was just an idea. Yeah, I was huge into fitness. You know, I never wanted to be a personal trainer or anything like that or whatever, but I just always worked out. In 8th grade, my high school football coach there, he got me in the weight room. It was just me and him, day after day after day, you know, all year long, not just during football season. It was all year long. So then that transitioned into, you know, how I led my life at college. And then, you know, after college, you know, I got into line work shortly after, and I wanted to do more, be more, and I wanted to own something. And, you know, I met this girl, and she was a personal trainer, and I was like, you know, let's start a studio. And that studio turned into, you know, full-fledged fitness center. But
that's insane though. That's,
but it was just an idea on a piece of paper. It was literally, you know, what do I want it to be? And that's really kind of where the lifestyle started or whatever, because I knew that fitness and training was a lifestyle. Like if you didn't do it every single day, like you weren't going to be successful at it. But then that also translated to anything in your life, whether it's your relationship, business, your work, your job, your career, you know. So that's kind of how it started. That's the original. That's what got me started, is that piece of paper.
That's your original logo too, hey?
Yeah, I hand drew that in Texas at my brother's house, and we're just thinking about opening up a gym. That's the original logo, hand drawn. That was the idea. So I got it on a piece of paper. Then actually got the logo actually done. Didn't like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, didn't like it. Then it went to the next logo. So that's the Lyft logo now.
I like your choice.
And then the original slogan wasn't live the lifestyle. It was live it, fitness, and training is a lifestyle, live it. That was the original slogan, and I thought it was too long and everything. I didn't quite like it. So then obviously live the lifestyle came. And then after that came.
That's sick.
So, because obviously
that's sick. That's cool.
That's where I've always found happiness is in progress.
Yeah.
And that's supposed to represent that.
It's cool that you documented your progress too. Yeah. Like, and as you actually kept the stuff. No, I like.
So I think what it really represents is like you just gotta start and then make the adjustment from there. You know, because most people like think they have to have it all figured out, and you don't. Yeah, you just have to have an idea. And that's where it starts. Have an idea and just take one step forward every single day.
Did you have money saved up to just straight up bootstrap this from the start? Or
So
like, how do you get a loan?
When I opened up Lift Auburn, yeah, that was the thing. I had about like $85,000 in my bank account. I was working 610s for par in Pennsylvania. And I'd come home on the weekends and, well, Saturday night or whatever, I'd go right to work. It took me about 3.5 months to build the first gym. I spent every dollar I had. Got denied a loan. Literally, I wish I still had the letter. It says like businesses like yours fail. You have no experience. You know, it was bank was that First Niagara, which they're ironically out of business now. They sold to Key Bank years ago, but so yeah, I spent $85,000. I did all the work myself. I got a non-traditional loan for the equipment, which was like another $120,000. At the time, but it didn't have, this is obviously way different, you know, had a lot less equipment to start the other fitness center.
Yeah.
And then, I was making pretty good money at the time. So like, I would say probably like three quarters of my paycheck was going to the couple people that were helping me. All said and done, I ended up spending $125,000 of my own money. At the end, I was running out of money to get to opening day, and I had like a personal IRA that I went and cashed out and got like a whopping 15 grand or whatever, just to give me the finish line. When I opened up, I had a whopping $3 grand left. So it was sink or swim on the first day.
Cutting it that close on the first day.
Yeah, sink or swim.
I'm going to read a few myths / limiting beliefs. I just want to read them and then have you react to it, give your advice or 2 cents on this limiting belief. So I don't have time to start a business while I'm working the trade.
Bullshit.
Explain.
Wow. I started Lyft when I was working 610s in Pennsylvania, 3.5 hours away from where I live. So I worked 610s. I was working for Par, Quanta. If I had a rain day, I drove home. I worked until midnight. I got back up at 4 a.m. I drove back to work. It was pretty crazy for a while. Get home Saturday night, late, work till 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, get a little bit of sleep, work all day Sunday until 10, 11, 12 o'clock at night and do it again. I did that straight for 3 months. I used every bit of my paycheck to hire like 2 guys to help me when I was gone. They would do whatever. And I'd come home and help when I could. I worked a lot. I literally slept in that place pretty much. It was probably the worst shape I've ever been in my life. You know, I'd be ordering pizza and takeout and stuff, get it delivered right to the gym and keep right on working. You know, the piece of pizza in my mouth, I'd be swinging a hammer.
Building a fitness facility in the worst shape, but like that's what it takes.
I spent every second, every dollar. You can do it. There's no doubt. You have to. Yeah. I worked 60 hours getting paid, and then I worked another 40 hours not getting paid.
What if they say, like, I know you don't have kids, but what if they say, well, I got kids and a family now? It's the same, right?
Yeah, you can look it up. I'm sure there's lots of people that have done it for sure. There's no excuse. Yeah.
I built this on the side while I was working with 3 kids, you know?
Yeah.
So, like, it can be done.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Started in a little room and you grew it step by step, 1 step a day. Yeah. The big thing I think is people think like there's this big gap that has to be covered, and that's not true at all. It's one, you have to have an idea. You have to believe in that idea, and then you take the first step. And then the next day you take the next step and another step and another step. And those small steps over the course of time cover miles.
Yeah, I want to talk about those steps actually as well, because you said like the idea for Lyft started on a piece of paper and you drew out a logo, but it's not like you can start with a logo. It was really that logo was the idea. Right. It wasn't even the finished product logo. Yeah. You just started with something. Yeah. You put it up and then you started building. Mm-hmm. It's not like, because lots of people think, okay, I got to get the whole brand package done and the colors and the fonts and the logo, and I got to get the website built. And it's like, you don't even have a business yet. Yeah. Like just start actually making the exchange for money first and then grow step by step after that. Yeah.
Yeah, all you really need, you need the idea. That's it. You can have some little hand-drawn logo like I did or whatever. And then, all right, what's the next step? Well, do I have to get it incorporated? Do I get an LLC or whatever? How do I do that? You know, get a lawyer, $1,500, done. That's the next step or whatever. Then, how much money am I going to need? How do I want to start this thing? Do I want to just do classes? Do I want to go full fitness center? Like, and just start solving each problem as it comes, one step at a time, one problem at a time. It's all I ever did. I didn't know anything about running a business. Nothing. You should have seen me back in the day trying to do QuickBooks or whatever. It would take me 7 hours to, input QuickBooks for the month or whatever. It was crazy. I had no idea what I was doing.
So this is the next myth.
Yeah.
You need a business degree to run a company.
No, I have a education degree. I was supposed to be a phys ed teacher.
Really?
I graduated SUNY Cortland.
I think I knew that, but I didn't remember.
Huh?
I knew that, but I didn't remember. Yeah.
Yeah, I was supposed to be a teacher. And I never once strayed away from that, because like I said, my two mentors in high school were both my football coach and my baseball coach, math teacher, gym teacher. They were awesome to me. And so that's what I wanted to be, just like them, went to Cortland, best state school here in New York. And I wanted to be a teacher the whole time. But then at the end, I really just didn't want to make $50,000 a year. So that's kind of when I pivoted, and I had a buddy that was in line work, and, I love being outside, and it was an awesome trade. And then I used line work as my foundation for that next step.
All right. Next myth. I don't come from money.
I don't come from money. I grew up lower middle class. Lived in a single wide trailer at one point in my life. Just had some hardworking parents that taught me a few good values, and I just extended them. That's really, you don't need money. You just need to have the idea, the will, and the way, and the ability to outwork whatever you're dreaming of. And that's what I did.
What do you need? What are like 2 or 3 things that you do need? If you don't have money, what do you need?
You got to be able to work. You got to be able to communicate, and you got to be able to create a relationship. So you just.
That's a big one that I think people don't.
Yeah, relationships are everything. Like, you have to have a foundation yourself of good core values. Be a good person. Do what's right. And then it's easy to create those relationships when you have those values. Like, you're a respectable person,
right? And
you don't have to have it right all the time. Like, you can make plenty of mistakes. You just have to own that mistake. What I see a lot of times when people make a mistake, even in like our industry, they fucking hide it. They try hiding it, and then you get caught. Then what? See ya. You're fired, but if you own this, hey, listen, I screwed up, I take responsibility. This is what happened, now you can be respected.
I've seen the silliest little things we were talking about the other day, silliest little things, just try to cover up, It could be like a wrecked bumper or something.
Right.
And it's like, it wasn't me. I don't know who it was.
Yeah.
It's like just
broken tool.
Yeah.
You just gotta be honest, because that's so respectable, And the thing is, everybody makes mistakes. Everybody. There's not a single person.
Yeah.
But the second you lie, that's it. You only get one name, so it's out the window then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, one more, and then we'll move on. The risk isn't worth it when you got a steady paycheck and benefits.
I disagree, I think, because I really don't think, for me now, the point I'm at in my life, all the things that I've done, there's 7 businesses now. Some of them, I guess most people would think's a risk, but if you believe in it enough, you consume your mind with it enough, it's going to be your reality. Mm-hmm. It's going to work. From the fitness center, I spent every dollar I had on that place. I cleaned out my little personal retirement that I had to get to opening day, and I had whopping $2,000-$3,000 left in my bank account when I opened. So, and now look at. So
I personally think as well, in today's day and age, that you should have something on the side, because I think it's never ever been easier for people to do things on the side.
Yeah. I think like the system like keeps you down and out and barely.
Yeah, I know it's not what they want to hear either. It's like they want you to like show up for your hours. Like show up for your hours. Don't cheap out on those. Like if you're getting a paycheck, like work your paid, like work the hours you're getting paid for working for somebody.
Yeah.
But those outside hours, like the 5 to 9 and the 9 to 5, that's what they call it, or whatever. You have hours outside of the hours you're getting paid is what I'm getting at, that you can be putting in work now. And it's never been easier with the internet, with communication, you know, abilities to communicate these days, to do things on the side.
I think like, that's how you're going to provide for your future, or do things that you just dream about. Yeah. You know, if you're just going to work this 9 to 5, think you're going to live this amazing life. And I mean, some people, don't get me wrong, some people, you know, are happy with, you know, $40,000, $50,000 a year and playing softball every Tuesday, Thursday nights or whatever. And that's great if you're happy. 100%. But I would bet that a majority are not.
Yeah. Those are the ones that are tuned out already anyway.
Right.
So if anyone's listening and wanting to know more, like that's what I think it takes to you know, to build something. You got to build outside those hours for a while too. Like,
dude, I built for years. I've owned the fitness centers for 12 years now. You know how much I've been paid?
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. In 12 years.
So what do they provide if they don't provide?
Obviously, it was really the foundation to start K&R, you know, from my relationships with the attorneys, banking, accounting, you know, all that. Hey, this guy proved himself. He started a business from scratch. We told him he couldn't. You know, I wish I still had the denial letter from the bank, you know, because it'd be, you know, in my office framed, you know, businesses like yours fail within 3 years, denied, you know. Went out and did it by myself, you know, and, you know, obviously then I got a new relationship with another bank. And then, you know, I paid that fitness center off in 3 years, and then I opened up another one from scratch. And, you know, I had, you know, 1,200 members between the two of them. And, you know, just, hey, this guy knows what he's doing. You know, let's give him a shot at something else. And that was K&R. So now when I walk into a bank, I don't fill out an application. You know, they literally ask me, what time would you like to pick up your check?
So it's relationships. Like, that foundation started everything. Yeah. And built those relationships with.
I kind of knew, like, when I wouldn't say like it was, we were on Storm one time and we needed 2 pickup trucks, you know, $50,000 pickup trucks, needed 2 of them. Called a dealership. Where do you need them? Delivered them, hand delivered them the next day, 3 hours away from the dealership. And then, how do you want me to pay you? Oh, just pay me when you get back. Like, I was like talking to my partner. I was like, dude, they just delivered $100,000 in trucks. And they don't even care about payment. Like,
because they know you're good for it. And it's,
good luck with that somewhere, you know? Like, but that's just something that compounded over the years, you know, just doing what I say I'm going to do time and time and time again, and proving myself over and over. But
I want to talk more about the foundation and even go further back to just mention and talk a little bit about the trade and how you kind of come up in the line trade, to give some context for anyone that hasn't heard previous episodes of your story. Just give a little bit of background.
So I went to college, wanted to be a phys ed teacher. We just touched on or whatever. Got out right out of college. Didn't really want to make 50 grand. I wanted a little more for my life or whatever. So had a buddy that was in the apprenticeship, you know, he's driving a brand new truck and all that nonsense or whatever. And, you know, he would tell me about what he was doing for work. And I was like, let me apply. And I applied to get in and got in the apprenticeship in 2009 and got started right away, and went through the apprenticeship and just wanted to do more. I just was always striving to do more, and came up with the idea for the fitness center. I literally built that one by hand, spent every single dollar I had. That one did well in 3 years, you know, and I kept, you know, got denied like my first line of credit, and then, you know, finally got my first line of credit, and then, you know, extended it to like 10 grand, and then 10 grand to 50 grand, 50 grand to 100 grand. I kept just extending that relationship before I ever needed it. And that's something that's important. A lot of people go to the bank when they need money. Right. Go to the bank before you need money, you know, because then they're more apt to give it to you instead of you being in a hole, you know.
Good call. So, it's good advice though. Like most people wouldn't think about that.
Especially now at the level that, you know, like K&R is at now or whatever, we're doing it again. Now you're talking millions of dollars now. So, but like if you get yourself in debt millions of dollars, you ain't gonna walk in the bank and get a loan for millions of dollars, you know. So then paid off that first fitness center in 3 years. You know, that was debt free. I was still doing line work. I was working, you know, 50, 60 hours a week downstate. I was driving 3 hours every Monday to go to work, and the next town over, I was driving through it, and I'm not from this area originally, and I kept driving by this building, and I looked up. I was like, there's only the this crappy YMCA here. I was like, this would be a great place for lift number 2. And I talked to my girlfriend at the time, and 6 months later, it existed. So that was the second one, 2018, and I was definitely hitting a stride in line work from being a lineman, a helicopter lineman, to foreman, general foreman, and I was kind of getting that right. And then Greg and myself were on a truck one time in Tampa, and we're like, man, we should be doing this ourselves. And went out and bought 3 trucks on a whim. We didn't buy them like a lot of all these Storm outfits these days or whatever. Storm wasn't even an idea for us at the time. It was just blue sky. We just want to do regular work. And bought the trucks, got them fixed up a little bit. I paid $13,500 a piece for my first 2 bucket trucks, $8,000 for an old contractor's digger truck. And I paid $50,000 for a nice egg backyard machine. Those are the first 4 pieces of equipment.
There's a lot of linemen that sit in the cab of a pickup truck, and look at each other and go, we should do this.
Yeah. It's a little harder now.
Yeah.
It's a lot harder now. The problem.
Do you think that everybody says that? Do you
I think a lot of people definitely say that for sure. But I think a lot of them jump in way too fast now. Like, we did it extremely
that's what I mean.
slow.
Like, can it still be done? Because I'm sure I heard my dad say that.
Yeah.
After 20 years of.
I'm not going to say that it can't be. It's a different ball game for now. A truck that I used to pay $13,000 for is probably $80,000-$90,000 now, upwards of $100,000.
You can just expect to need a little bit more.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
And there's so many people that thought that and went out and got these trucks and stuff and got involved in it and don't really know what they're doing. Like, didn't build up to it yet. Don't really understand how the insurance game works. You think you're doing well for a minute, because it's based off of projected revenue, right? So, hey, awesome job this year, KR. You guys did a hell of a job. You did an extra $5 million this year. Congratulations. You had no incidents, but you owe me $340,000. And you're like, what? I have $100,000 in the bank account, So it takes a minute to really learn a lot of the steps as you go. And then the other is some speaking insurance, you can't even acquire it. That's another issue is the amount of insurance that these utility companies require. You can't even acquire. You don't have an EMR score, experience modifier score. So they're not going to give you the insurance. And if they will give it to you, it's a lot of money. So there's a lot of fly-by-night companies out there that are kind of going with some people that, if something were to happen in the utility space or whatever, somebody's getting in trouble.
Sure.
But
Gary Vee's he's a kind of famous entrepreneur or whatever in the online space, but he's got this saying that give away your best stuff for free because 99.9% of people will never act on it anyway.
Yeah.
So
that's why I always say that nothing with me is a secret. I'll tell you everything because it takes so much work to get there that I'm pretty confident, I'm not going to start my own competitor that's going to get to that level, But,
well, they can't start at your level tomorrow anyway. Right. So because I know there's guys out there, I know what we want to do is motivate guys, whether it's a line company or whatever company. It's what are some of these things that they got to think about when they turn to each other in the cab of a truck and say, we could do this.
Yeah.
What do they not know? A few of these things like insurance, I know they're nerdy little things, but what are a couple other things like that they might not know on day one?
Yeah.
That they should consider.
Right. The liability and the accounting and, if something happens, you are taking a big risk at first. Sure. My recommendation is go do something like I did first. You got a side hustle. You like to run an excavator or, you like to do something like that. You're into fitness, I would say get your feet wet with another business before you go diving into something that could potentially, especially if you got a family, crush your entire world. Because
I can see that working out for a lot of guys is a little landscaping type company, or whatever. Little piece of equipment, whatever that looks like, dump trailer and a Mini X or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Manage something like that small before you go dive into something where you get into millions and millions of dollars. There was a contractor that just went out of business not that long ago, and I know who bought them. And then the contractor they bought was $32 million in debt. That's insane.
And they still bought them.
And they weren't that old.
Damn.
You know, so it can spiral quickly.
Yeah.
And then the issue is people get crazy and they get desperate. So they're trying to pay bills. So they're cutting these throats or cutting corners or lying, you know, just to get on an event to pay these bills. You know, it's going to kill somebody at some point.
What's your thoughts on taking a paycheck for yourself?
No, really, not for a while. You know, don't extend yourself because
some guys will get into business right away and go,
Yeah.
look what I can do, you know?
Right. I never, you know, for the fitness center, I never took a paycheck.
Yeah.
You know, it was just all this learning process to get me to that next step, the bigger goal, the bigger dream. So I wouldn't start taking a paycheck because you're just taking away from the business. You know, I had my line work. I was making great money as a lineman.
So another reason to like work a job.
So
and build
whatever
something.
the company made just went right back into it. And I just grew it that much faster, twice as fast, because I didn't have to live off of what I was trying to do. So I worked for free for 10 plus years. And
Essentially that's like going to business school, but you get something out of it in the end, right?
Right.
You're just like, it's delayed gratification.
Right. You know, the Lift Geneva here, whatever, my second fitness center, that place is, if I sold it, $750,000, $1 million, you know. Sure, I've never taken a paycheck, but if I wanted to cash out, probably could.
Yeah.
You know.
And then you learned business, you networked, like all these things.
Yep.
It's part of like growing a community as well. Something like that.
That's kind of the biggest thing I think where Lyft is now or whatever, because, you know, it's pennies, you know, but it's community. There's 660 members there, whatever, and they're all coming in. And, you know, I created an incredible culture there. We don't mess around. It's how clean was it?
Yeah, spotless.
Yeah, that's probably one of the cleanest fitness centers most people will ever walk in. That's like the number one compliment. And that's not, it may have started with me, but that culture trickled to literally everybody. You know, there ain't nobody leaving their weights out. There ain't nobody that's not, I change the shoes rules in the summer, which you didn't follow.
My bad. Sorry.
Yeah. So yeah, obviously, and then the people you meet there and stuff like that, and you do other things for communities, you know, in the wintertime, Christmas, you know, we did about $10,000 worth of toys for kids. You know, the parents couldn't afford them. They'd come in, pick out a couple toys for their kids. And Thanksgiving, we do turkeys and, you know, Wegmans gift cards and stuff like that to try to give back. So.
And it is those little things that matter.
Yeah. Try to inspire somebody, because there's somebody else can have a massive impact on people just like I have, you know.
I think some of this comes from the trade as well. Like some of this, you know, cleanliness and things like that. Like I notice when I came up in the trade, I always had guys, fortunate enough to have guys around me, like the foremen and the leaders that cared about like the trade side of it, right? Yeah. And how shit looked, whether it was Powerline you're building or whether it was the pickup truck you were driving.
Yeah.
You
or
keep
your bucket
shit clean. Yeah, bucket, whatever.
Well, how much better was your attitude when it was clean?
Exactly.
You know, if you're standing on a bunch of shit in the bucket, what are you doing? At some point, you're probably starting to throw stuff.
Yeah.
Because you're sick standing on it.
Yeah.
You know, so if you keep everything clean, organized, you're going to be quicker. Your attitude is going to be better. You know, you're going to be a lot more positive. You know, and that's how the fitness center is. That's how my whole life is. You walk in my house, is it clean and organized? Because when I walk in there, that's my peace. You know, I want to feel good when I walk in there. If it's a mess, a disaster, you're not going to feel good.
So what else did the trade build in you that nothing else could have?
Man, for some reason, I got to go right straight to work ethic. The amount of hours that you can put in line work, and then you can step back and look at something, you know, and because that's one thing I used to remember is like when I used to have smaller problems, you know, go out and have a double dead end or whatever with a buck arm on it or something like that. And like, that's the only problem I had all day. And then when I'm done or whatever, you look at it and then you're looking at something very prideful that you just worked your ass off on all day, and it's going to sit there for the next 50 years. So I think work ethic is kind of, I always had it, but I would say it was definitely heightened, you know, because I really found what I was capable of when I started working 60, 70 hours a week, 70, 80 hours a week. I worked 7/14s for almost 6 months with Hinkles and McCoy once. That's brutal. You'll find yourself real fast. You know, I remember just having no time for nothing. Get done work, go straight to bed. Do it again for 6 straight months. So if you can do that, imagine what else you can do.
So we were talking about on the treadmill the other day about how hard people work. Some people in this trade work to not work.
Yeah.
It's like work ethic in reverse. And if they just figured it out, that if they put the same amount of effort and work into actually doing the work,
right, it'll translate to the rest of their lives. Because I'm sure
they'll get more out of it too.
If they're doing that,
they'll make more out of it.
They're doing it at home.
Yeah,
they're doing it in their relationship. Doing it with their kids. It's probably, I wouldn't say it's a miserable life, but it could be a lot better.
Yeah, they just don't realize what they're skipping out on and missing by trying to skip work and working hard at not working versus You're a big Andy Frisella fan. So I'm gonna give you one of my favorite Andy Frisella quotes. 99% of people let others' opinions and beliefs keep them from ever living the life they want. Talk to me about how Andy's kind of like influenced you.
So it's actually kind of funny we're talking about Andy. So when I first started my fitness center, that's like when I found Andy, when it was the MFCEO.
Right.
And I was like, my mindset was already there, but I didn't really have the confidence in what I was doing just yet. So he was like reassurance that I was on the right path. So that's when I was working in Pennsylvania. I just started the first fitness center, and I would listen to MFCEO on the way to work, on the way back from work, or at the gym. I listened to that guy all the time or whatever, and it was just a really good confidence booster that I was on the right track already. When it comes to listening to somebody else, I always say, it's my dream. You can't see it, so I'm gonna do what I need to do. So I'm sorry, I'm not gonna take your I guess I'll take your 2 cents, but that's about it.
Yeah.
But
it's more to learn from anyway, right? Like, that's why I like guys like Andy as well. And there's a bunch more of them out there that got pretty great podcasts.
Yeah, I follow Gary.
Yeah.
He's awesome, but
right. It's motivation, and it is like reassurance, and it is people that have got a few steps ahead of you from one to many steps ahead of you and done it. Right. So it's like another great quote of his, and I won't quote the exact ones, I don't have it down here, but like he says, like, if another human has done it, you can do it.
I've thought the same thing so many times or whatever. Somebody else can do it. Why can't I do it?
Yeah.
I mean, I like to tell people all the time, like, I'm an idiot and I figured it out. Yeah. You can definitely figure it out, so there's a lot of people that have accomplished things that inspires me for the next one. We just went out and I got invited to Michael's Power, like that was a pretty big win for me, and to put me, like, I had worked for them at one point in my career to be invited. I flew my airplane, landed at their hangar, got to see their jets or whatever. Like, that's an inspiration to me. And then to see like the structure that it takes to run a company that big, like, that impresses me. It inspires me to just keep on going. That guy started with a shovel and one employee in 1959, I think it was, Yeah. $6.5 billion a year company now.
I never thought about that. Actually getting around people that are doing the actual thing that you're doing.
Law of attraction.
Yeah.
You surround yourself with 5 great people, you're probably going to be the 6th. If you're going to surround yourself with 5 shitbags, you're probably going to be the 6th.
Is that something that you've done too? Like, I was just talking.
Yeah, my circle's gotten a lot smaller. Like, the more success that I've gotten, my circle's gotten a lot smaller, and it's really people that get it, that really understand it and understand where I want to go. Because there's so many problems that come at you. And the more success you get, the more problems that are going to come at you. The more success you have, it's not going to be less problems ever. It's going to be more. You're just going to be better at solving them, and you're going to be stronger. That's really what I found. So you have to surround yourself with people that get it and understand it, because if you're surrounding yourself with people who are weak, what are they going to do? Take a break, go on vacation, like, you don't need this in your life, That's not going to solve nothing. So,
has that ever been difficult? I'll give you some context. I was just talking to Vic about this yesterday, actually. I'm like, I wish I lived closer to you as well, because like, I connect with you pretty well, and you're the type of person that I want to be around, because it helps motivate me to do these similar things, because I got a similar track, and I want to go this direction. And I sometimes find it hard in the spaces that I'm in to get like find people like yourself to get around? Has that been a challenge as well? Because I know that's a real challenge for people too. So like, how did you do that, or how have you done that?
I can say honestly, like these cars have put me around some people like that are in that space, in that circle. I've been kind of a leader a little bit in that forefront, but I do have some peers that are very similar. You know, you might meet my buddy Ryan later today. He's gonna land his helicopter here. The reason he's a helicopter pilot today is because of me. Like, he got inspired because of me. You know, he's got a smaller business, but he's grown the hell out of it because he, you know, was in my circle and stuff, and we just think the same. We can bounce ideas off each other, and when you're down and you're depressed or whatever, you actually have somebody that gets it and understands, and you can talk about it, and it's been pretty incredible, honestly. But it gets small. Your circle gets small.
I know you can only do, like, I try, so I know you can only do so much having online mentors, like people that never know that you're their mentor, but you know, you listen to them all the time, like Andy Frisella, right? He's been a mentor for so many people and never knew it. But you can only do so much of that before you got to get with people in real life. So getting in the right rooms is so important. And the right rooms meaning just like putting yourself in the physical space where you can meet and interact with these people. Because they exist out there. So doing things like, maybe you don't have to buy a $500,000 car, but you can, you can get an old muscle car and join a club. And, exactly.
You know, meet people at the golf course, you know, the gym, you know, put yourself out there, try to communicate, try to talk to people, you know, you'll find there's opportunity there. The thing is, like, it's not going to happen tomorrow. You know, you got to keep at it. You got to keep at it. You got to keep putting yourself out there, keep talking to people, create those relationships. Opportunities will come. You know, when K&R started, we didn't even have a contract. We have 32 contracts now with some of the largest utilities in the country. You know,
so talk about starting K&R a little bit more. You mentioned, you know, sat in the truck with now business partner. You said we should do this. You got the trucks, but like, how did that initial few contracts go? And
we started subbing some work and did a pretty good job and helped grow both companies at the same time until we both got pretty big, and then we, you know, kind of separated or whatever. And that's when we really had to go out and pursue our own stuff. And I think our first contract ever was NYSEG, which is right here in New York. And then our second one was Eversource, you know, and that was through a relationship, you know, somebody that we had worked with in the past or whatever that knew somebody at NYSEG or knew somebody at Eversource, and then could get you on the phone. So, you know, it comes back to those values: be a good person, do what's right, you know, and then you can relate with people and, hey, I know this person, and relationships are everything. You got to have a good foundation, a good core values, and then the relationship gets you that next step.
Dive a little bit more on actually getting, like, I want to help somebody that wants to do this, like, get in the door. So you say that gets you that first phone call. Or is that first phone call is like, hey, we're a Powerline company. Do you have work? Like, how do you do?
Well, we'd already been working for a while. Yeah, this is such a hard.
Yeah.
Because even companies that have been out there for a while probably might still not have their first contract, I'm sure.
So again, goes back to like getting yourself in the right room though.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like, you got to get out there and network and get with people. Like, this is the
even
thing.
as a lineman, like, you better be busting your ass out there. You know, if you're a general foreman somewhere or something, and you've got a utility rep that you're face to face with, you're sitting in meetings every single day, and eventually you want to go do this yourself. There's your relationships. Hey, we worked together on this 4-year project or whatever. Like, I had enough. I went out and bought 6 trucks, or I'm going out and buying 6 trucks, you know. Help me out. What's the process? What can I do? You know, I don't want you to give it to me, but how can I earn it? Just go from there.
And this is what's so important about, like, not being a shitbag even now, right?
Right.
And so everything you ever want is on the other side of reach and reputation.
Yeah.
So if you start burning your reputation now, like, this is what you might not think about. Like, oh, I'm just a lineman, whatever. Right. I'll screw these guys over. I'll do this, whatever. It all matters, even stacking way back to
the
then.
Smallest things matter ever. Because, I mean, we'll just go back to when I was working for Hinkles and McCoy. I hadn't stepped a foot on the side of a helicopter yet. And it's something I want to do. There was helicopters on that job. I'd see that guy flying out on the right of way every day, and I'm climbing up that 200-foot structure, just be like, what the hell? You know, I'd much rather be that guy on that helicopter there. And I remember one day, it was in like March or April or whatever, and it was pouring rain, and the helicopter wasn't flying that day, and we were stretching ladders on the fiber, doing dead ends, and we were able to get one up with a pickup truck, but could not get the other one, the setup or whatever it was. And I ended up doing that dead end, or the one lineman I was up there with, he did the one on the one side with a ladder, and I worked the other one without a ladder. I was literally like hanging 200 feet on the static, doing that dead end in the pouring rain. That lineman, when he was done his dead end, guess what he did? Climbed down. Didn't even fucking help me finish that thing. I thought there were 2 first step apprentices finish that dead end or whatever. But I had a foreman on that crew, and we're fast forward like 8 months later, and now we're working for PAR on the other side of that job in Pennsylvania, the Susquehanna Roseland 500 job. And we're driving out to the right of way, and the helicopter flies by, and I was like, man, that's cool. He's like, you ever been on one? And I was like, nope, never been on one, but I'd like to. He's like, well, I remember what you did for me in New Jersey. I'll sit there looking for somebody. I'll give him your name. 2 weeks later, I was standing on the side of a helicopter, and it's the best job I ever had for the next 5 years. Just from that one thing that happened 8 months ago.
Yeah.
There's so many stories like that in my life. Yeah. People remember the small things.
Every little thing.
I sit a kid in one of these cars, they're going to remember it forever. Yeah.
I wish more people actually grabbed onto that and like realized.
Yeah. It's not the big, obviously you look at everything now, you're like, holy crap. Like you saw my shop yesterday. Pretty awesome, wasn't it? It wasn't that when it started.
Yeah.
It was one bucket truck. And it was all these small steps that were just compounded over time, solving one problem at a time, taking one step at a time. That's what led to everything that we've experienced the last couple of days.
So I like what you got on your wall in your gym. You got dream big, but on the other side, you got work hard or work harder.
Work harder. Yeah.
Work harder.
Yeah.
To me, that's like what you're talking about. It's like, go ahead and dream. Dream as big as you want.
Dude, I used to lay in bed and just dream and dream and dream and dream, which is great. Yeah. But how do you get there? Yeah. I have to work harder. Yeah. And even myself, even everything that I've accomplished today, I can still work harder. I can still work harder. I can still accomplish more. I can do more. I can help more people. I can provide more solutions, so.
I had somebody in the DMs the other day ask kind of like about that kind of question. Like, I want to achieve this, but how do I do that? It seems pretty big and seems pretty far away. I said, well, what is the thing that you want to achieve? Let's just start with that. Go ahead and dream as big as you want.
Yep.
And then let's name that, label that. Okay. And then start making a list, working backwards from that to where you are now, of all of the things that you need to achieve that you can think of that you need to achieve to get to that spot. And then just start working your way there. Like, that's the only way to do it. But you have to, like,
the only way to do it. What's the first step?
Yeah. You might take big bites out sometimes, but then you might go backwards a little bit. You
will. Man, I can remember going on like our first event and having 11 guys, I think it was. And like, that was a massive win for us.
Yeah.
Now I'm taking 400 guys on Storm.
Yeah.
Like
that's awesome.
when I take 11 guys now, it's a bad day.
Yeah.
But
what is there anything that's knocked you backwards a little bit? Big things you've had to overcome?
I wouldn't say we've had any really like big things. There's like change in leadership and stuff like that. But if there's one thing that I can say about like making the tough decisions that you think, like getting rid of people, it took me a long time to learn that or whatever. Like, if it's not right, it's not right. Like, don't worry about what's going to happen. Something better is going to come. Like, that's a really hard decision to make. And especially you go to the fitness center or whatever, like losing a member or something like that. Like, that was tough.
Yeah.
But if they're bad culture for the other 600 people you got. So get rid of them. So
hire fast, but fire faster.
Yeah. Yeah. If they're not right and they ruin the whole culture, just make the decision and get rid of them. Firing people is tough, but it's a lot easier today than it was. But
something I've personally learned about myself just recently is, and I wish somebody had sat me down and actually talked through this. Like, this is what I wish somebody, a leader of mine, would have actually done with me, is define the difference between leadership and management. Because what I've just realized in myself is that I'm not a good manager and that I don't even really like management. but I'm a good leader.
Yeah.
I have visionary skills. I can see around corners. I can see what's up
Yeah.
next. I'm always constantly trying to
that's
be
how it
better,
is.
work,
Yeah.
work hard
Yeah.
and be an example. Like I'll go do that thing and prove that it can be done.
Yeah.
And, for the people behind you, but I'm not necessarily did you accomplish your daily tasks today? And I see you struggled with step 5. Let me help you work through that. It's like, heard another good quote that's be a lighthouse, not a tugboat. It's like, I'll show you,
Right.
I'll be here. That's what I kind of see you, right? Like, I'll show you what's possible.
Right.
Like, look at this lifestyle that is possible for anybody. If I can do it, you can do it.
Right.
But I'm not going to tug you through the swamp if you're not wanting to go through.
I definitely lead by example.
Yeah.
Bro, I still clean toilets. I'll walk into my fitness center and see the toilet dirty, and I will clean that thing right then and there. So, like, I definitely, out on the job, give me that shovel, like I'm not afraid to still get down and work, be the leader. But
so on that line, here's another quote. I don't know who this quote comes from, but I liked it about, we're going to get into like mindset, obsession, that around the mindset of being an entrepreneur, right? So being an entrepreneur is a mindset. You have to see things as opportunities all the time. What do you think about that?
say it again.
What do you think about the mindset? Like the quote is, being an entrepreneur is a mindset. You have to see things as opportunities all the time.
There's opportunities everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just, if you just got to keep doing your thing and they're going to come, it's not like there's.
How do you choose though? Like I was asking you that the other day. It's like, how do you choose like what business to start? Like,
What do you like? I don't know. What do you like? That's like how all my things came about or whatever. I was into fitness. I enjoyed working out.
Yeah.
I wanted to own a business. So that's how I started a fitness center. And then I really wanted to, own a lake house, but I didn't really want to pay for a lake house. So, I started doing research on Airbnbs and renting and stuff like that. And then I owned 1, then I owned 2, then I owned 3. Real estate, wanted to own a little bit of real estate. Just went out and bought one, figured it out. Obviously K&R, I was a lineman, so I already had that in the bag. But people, again, have brought me opportunities because, hey, I seen you do this. Can we try that? I've done that.
What about when it comes to people, again, on that, like hiring and firing, like surrounding yourself with good people? What about that in the context of business and work? Like, how important is it to have good people working with you, you, around you?
It's extremely important, because if you have a shit bag, it's going to draw everybody down. And I've experienced it. Like, you walk into the place and it is a black cloud and you could hear a pin drop in there. You get rid of that one person that has this negative attitude all the time, and then you walk in and the sun's shining inside. People are laughing. You can hear people talking. They're collaborating. Everybody can now have an idea and they're not an idiot. Everybody can, work on a project together. And before that, you couldn't, because if you said something, you were, talked down on. And so, like, fuck it, I'm gonna stay in my own lane. Nobody's gonna do nothing. Nobody's gonna try to grow. Nobody's gonna try to get better. Just, this is my job. I'm just gonna do this. So get rid of them.
Yeah.
I'll never go through that again. I can tell you that much.
Yeah.
I don't want to dive into it too deep, but
no, but
I'll never go through that.
I agree. You keep too many C, D players around, you're going to lose your A players just for.
The problem was, we were doing good, and we got to this point, and we were there, and that was it. We were not getting past there because we couldn't work together. People couldn't work together. It was just one person literally putting a ceiling on everything.
Yeah.
Now that ceiling's gone, it's incredible what that'll do. Just one person, and that doesn't have to be just business. It could be your personal relationships, your friendships, your wife or spouse. So,
I played a lot of ice hockey growing up. Obviously, Canadian, quite competitively. So I always fought with people in line work as well, my leadership in line work, and honestly, owners of companies I've worked for. Mm. I always fought with them a lot about, I always wanted to be on the A lines and the A or B lines, right? Like never that C or D, that third or fourth plumber. Like I always want to be on power play. And I was in hockey because like I could prove that, and I always was. I was first or second line, always on power play or penalty kill, like your special lines, like I was there.
Right.
I loved it. It's super fun. You know, I love that level of competition as well. And when I got into line work, it seemed like some company owners were like, I just can't do that. I want to do that. I see what you guys can do. But if I do that, like I'm not going to get the production out of this group. I need to put you guys through. I was like, we don't want that. We just want that money crew. And that's how I want to work because it's fun. It's like, I believe that you got to do that. I don't know what your thoughts are on that.
I mean, that's how I was. I mean, I can remember. I seemed like I always got the shit.
Yeah.
Because my crew could go do it, you know. I worked with this kid, Johnny Bracken in Pennsylvania, and man, we always got the shit because we're the two that could get it done.
Yeah.
You know, so we did some wild stuff together, but I definitely think you need that, and you surround yourself with people like that, and you know you're gonna get there too. It's
I wish more company owners thought like that though, and they saw because they tend to go, I can't. I need to spread you guys out because, you know.
I think I guess there's some type of balance you have to have. You know, I always say like use people for who they are and what they can do. You know, because I mean, there's some people that are just gonna set poles. You know, there's the people that just want to do those tangents, you know. So I think you try to find some good balance that works the best for everybody, but yeah.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about lifestyle. You can design your life, get in shape, learn some high value skills, and build something. You've designed the life that you want. Talk a little bit about how you design this. Like I know you set a goal, but like talk about the cars, talk about your pilot license a little bit, things like that. This lifestyle that you've created for yourself is pretty special. Like you do all this hard work, but like, what is it for?
Yeah.
You're designing a life that's bigger than just, you know.
For me, I think life is about experiences, and everything in my life provides an experience one way or another, whether it's relaxing or some excitement or just things that people don't think is like a normal reality, but it is for me. You know, like I got some friends that are just like, dude, like who the fuck are you? Like this is crazy what you're doing. Like look what we did yesterday. Is that normal? No. You know, like it is for me. You know, and that's how I want to live. I only get one life. Like I am gonna enjoy the hell out of it. You know, like the car that we took this morning. You know, that thing's an experience all the way around. You know, I understand how much it costs and everything like that, and but looking at it, an experience. Sitting in the seat, experience. Pressing that start button, experience. Driving it, experience. And the other thing, it's an experience for a ton of people that could hopefully potentially inspire them to do great things as well. Becoming a pilot, you know, Chris, he was a pilot for Winco. He was my mentor in that, and he was nasty. I mean, I used to be standing on a skid, and he'd be focused right in, he'd have his lips right on his mic, and he'd just be, you know, game on in there. And I was just so inspired, like, man, I want to be that guy or whatever, you know. And he's like, I wanted to go out and get my helicopter pilot's license first. And he's like, no, don't do that. It's way too expensive. And, you know, then helicopters are expensive to purchase. They're expensive to rent and all that stuff. He's like, go get your fixed wing first. You know, this is when I didn't have as much money as today. And so I did exactly that. You know, it took me a minute or whatever, because I was working. I was working 6 days a week, 5, 6, 7 days a week sometimes. So I started learning to fly. I was hooked immediately. You know, after 3 hours of training in some 1955 Cessna 140 or whatever, I went out and bought my own airplane. I paid $46,000 for a Grumman Tiger, and I learned in my own airplane. I was working all over the place. I was still flying and stuff on the helicopter, and I'd come home and do a lesson. I'd go back to work, be gone for 2 months. I'd go back, do a lesson, catch up. I just stuck with it over time. Took me 2.5 years to get my license finally. Best thing I ever accomplished. If I can tell anybody listening to this right now, go do a discovery flight, learn to fly. It will change your life in so many ways. And I'm sure you could literally talk about it right now just from yesterday's experience.
What are some of the ways it's changed your life? And what are some of the things it's taught you?
Well, I mean, look what we did yesterday. We just saw what do you call it, the Grand Canyon of the East, Letchworth State Park. I mean, have you ever experienced anything like you experienced yesterday? Flying that. No. You can't. There's no way. There's absolutely, literally no way you could ever experience that without flying. You know, the views, the sights, where we landed, you know, that's with a helicopter, obviously, but you and I right now we could go to the airport, we can jump in my airplane, and 2 hours we can be in Maine, having a lobster roll on the ocean, experience this peaceful flight, you know, on the way out there. Just me and you. We could have all these nice conversations on the way out there, have lunch on the ocean, fly back here, we're sitting at the dinner table.
Yeah.
You know, and then on the way home, we watch the sunset, you know, together, you know.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
It's literally insane. For me, it's a time machine. I got so much going on now or whatever that there'll be times where I'll take the helicopter down to the shop, which is an hour and 40 minutes away. So I'm not driving. That's 4 hours of my day I have to drive. I'm down there in 25 minutes, 30 minutes. I land right in the yard, have my meetings or whatever. Then I go from there to one of my businesses in Geneva. I make sure everything's good there, and I hop to the next one. I go visit, you know, the project over at my airport or whatever, see how those guys are doing, and then back to my house. Something you couldn't do in 2 days, and I do it in 5 hours.
That's the thing with all of this stuff too. Like, it's great community building, networking, like introductions.
Yeah, it's a really good experience, and it, you know, opens some imaginations and inspires some kids. And that's what I think a lot of the things that I have is really important is like for the youth, the kids.
Yeah.
You know, I don't really care about the adults, whether they like my car or not, or the helicopter, you know. It's that little kid that you want to inspire to be the next generation. Out of all the things I've accomplished, learning to fly was the best.
Oh, man.
It's changed my life in so many ways. I mean, look what we're doing right now.
I know I keep saying it, I keep talking about it, but it's one of those things I got to put into reality.
But yeah, line work definitely, you know, inspired me to be doing exactly what we're doing right now.
That's what I want to do, is help motivate and inspire linemen or people in the trades to do other things as well.
Right.
And
yeah, one thing I couldn't stand, I didn't like, I guess, you know, when I first got in, you know, you'd go to the bar with the, a bunch of the older linemen or whatever, and they were building power lines at the bar.
Yeah.
You know, like, that's really not what life's about. There's a lot more going on.
Yeah.
And I could never do that, never wanted to do that. Line work's great. I enjoy it. I enjoy the experience. I enjoy what it can do for myself and my family, and the traveling I get to do with line work. Like, it's all great, but there's more experiences than just line work. I don't want to build line work or build power lines at the bar, you know, my whole life. And there's a lot of guys that do it. Yeah. And then they got nothing to show for it either.
Nothing. Because everyone ends up the same in the end. You're
Yeah.
broken body in the end.
Yeah.
And, you know, you just spent 50 years telling everybody you're the best lineman in the world.
Yeah.
And you know how to do everything. A lot of those guys are really great at what they do, and they are good linemen. But it's like, put half that energy into something else,
Right.
and you could have 10 times more.
Well, the problem I think a lot of people do, once they, you know, first step apprentices, second step apprentices, once they first get in, they start getting that big paycheck. Oh, I'm buying a brand new truck.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm buying a brand new snowmobile this year. You know, I'm buying a four-wheeler side by side. Now their payment broke. You know, they're making good money, but their payment broke. So instead, they could eat a little bit of shit for a little bit longer. You know, save up some money, maybe start another business on the side or whatever. You know, and then compound it over the years, and that's pretty much exactly what I did. I lived in a $600 a month shithole apartment about the size of this helicopter, you know, when I was making $200,000 a year. But I was saving all that money and wanted to do something bigger and better, you know.
We're fortunate in line work because you can trade your time for money for your whole career and still do incredible. You can have incredible toys, you can have an incredible life, big house, raise a family, pay for college, pay for university, buy all the shit you want. But you could just do so much more if you want to.
Yeah.
And then,
if you compound it more, you're going to have freedom. That's the biggest thing. You don't want to be stuck to those payments your entire life. Yeah, you make great money, you got great things, but you got to go to work every Monday. You got to travel every Monday, you know.
the body's fragile, and you just don't know what's going to happen.
I'm like 40, and I'm paying for it on my ankles already, you know.
I was even thinking of it context of like personal life too. Just I've got parents that are getting older and they live 5 hours of intense mountain driving to get there.
Yeah. Great example, obviously for me or whatever, my parents live 4.5 hours from here. when I was working 6-7 weeks, I never saw them.
Yeah.
That was actually a big reason why I wanted to become a pilot, because it allowed me to get up there to see them. You know, what's a 4.5 hour drive used to be is now a 50-minute flight for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. 50-minute flight. My parents lived 10 minutes from the airport. Yeah. So like a lot of people, I don't know if they realize this or whatever, there's 5,500 airports in the country. I think there's only like 500 like commercial airports in the country. So you can get really close to where somebody lives, you know, by flying into a little regional airport with your little Cessna or something like that.
Yeah.
And you don't have to be rich to get an airplane or whatever. You could be flying an airplane for $30,000, $40,000, $50,000.
A very decent airplane too.
Yeah.
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 And what do they look like to store and stuff like that?
Depends on the region or whatever, you know. I pay $300 a month for a hangar. That's all I pay. Yep.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
It's always been on my
dude,
bucket
I'm
list,
just telling you, like, get up.
Yeah.
We go to breakfast in New Jersey, an hour flight. We're back here. Or we go up to Lake Placid where the Olympics were, 1980 Olympics or whatever. Have breakfast there, fly back, fly over the mountains, the views, the lakes, you know, that peace, that quiet, you know. When you drive somewhere for vacation, you know, you're 8 hours with your family, your kids or whatever. You're fucking miserable by the time you get there, you know, and you only have a long weekend. So you spent one of it driving, you know, you get to spend a day and a half, then you're packing everything up and then you're driving again for a day. You spent 2 days out of the 4 days you had for driving. Yeah. When we can do it in 2 hours.
Yeah. It's pretty wild.
That's what it's incredible. And that's progressed for me too. You know, I started with a little Grumman Tiger. You know, I paid $46,000 for that thing. The other thing too, a lot of people need to realize too, those things usually appreciate. You know, you don't usually lose money on an aircraft, as long as you take care of it. I paid $46,000 for it. I put some money into it. I sold it for $150,000 when I sold it.
Is this like a 2-seater? Or is this
that was
like
a 4-seater, small 4-seater. Did about 130 knots at cruise, which is pretty quick.
What kind of distance?
That I think, if I remember correct, it's been a minute since I flown that. I did Key West in it. I went to Key West and back in it. I stopped at Tennessee to Georgia all the way down to Key West.
Okay.
Yeah. So pretty good range.
Yeah.
Pretty quick. And then I upgraded from there. And then I got a little faster airplane. I got an RV-10 and then, you know, now I've upgraded since then too.
I know a few guys like yourself, a few linemen that are pilots. And one of them I always talk about is Derek Halsey. I introduced you to Derek. But I just thought one of the coolest things, and I mention it on the podcast every now and then in case anybody wants to be a pilot that they might not be thinking about, is like Derek lives in Washington, Port Angeles. He'd fly to he's a union lineman, right?
Yep.
IBW union lineman. So he could fly to California in his plane,
Sign
plane he owned, sign the books, work for 2-3 months.
Yeah.
Back in his plane when work dries up, or he just felt like going home, flies home. You know, rent a car while you're down there, or just get around in other ways, maybe, you know, crew trucks or things like that. But it was just,
that was like when I would lay in bed and dream about it, whatever. That's what I wanted to do. My dream was like, okay, I'm doing this helicopter work, you know, on Friday night or Saturday night or whatever, when the day's over or whatever, I'm flying back with the helicopter to the hangar, getting in my airplane. Instead of the 6-hour drive, I'm an 1.5-hour flight home. Yeah. I never actually accomplished that dream.
You're just flying everywhere instead of driving everywhere.
Yeah. But, I mean, that's what I do now. Just I never got the helicopter to the hangar to my house or whatever. But that was like how that dream. That's exactly.
Step one.
That's how that dream started.
Yeah.
Like that's what I saw myself doing.
Talk about this experience you had. We chatted in the helicopter a little bit about it, but I thought it was super special. I know it wasn't directly related to work, but your storm cruise, you responded to Hurricane Helene, but you got to do something special while you're there, since you had a helicopter, donating your own time, your own money in fuel, you know, flight, all that kind of stuff. But you got to do some special stuff. So just talk about that experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Hurricane Helene, you know, North Carolina, South Carolina, all that stuff. Obviously been doing line work a long time. That's probably the most devastation I've ever seen in my life. Like what water can do, and that much water and that fast, that amount of volume is pretty incredible. It cut communities off. I mean, it mudslides, sides of mountains just gone. You know, this building standing here today, gone tomorrow. It was crazy. Somebody off of social media actually reached out to me randomly that I had actually sat with on a Delta flight. said, hey, I got this family, their mother, their father, and one of their friends is stuck on a mountain in North Carolina. Is there any way you can help at all? Like, they're running out of medicine. They don't have power, blah, blah, blah. It took 2 seconds, packed a bag. K&R was headed out to South Carolina on storm for Duke Energy. So packed up the helicopter with my girlfriend, and we flew right to North Carolina. Got to like Pennsylvania at nighttime or whatever, bedded down there, got up in the morning. The weather wasn't the greatest or whatever. Nice thing about helicopter, we skated underneath the weather as far as we could. Actually had to land for a while, wait for the weather to get out, and flew the rest of the way to North Carolina, went straight to the airport, got fuel, got her out of the helicopter. I flew up the mountain, landed on a golf course, picked up this like 90-year-old man, his friend, and then the mother, and then flew him to Rutherford Airport right off the top of the mountain. That's the first thing I did there. And that was the only thing I went down there for, actually. I didn't go down there for anything else. But when I got down there, I noticed the airport that I was at, people were starting to fly in supplies and everything. They were starting to organize all these supplies because all these communities were cut off. And there's no cell service. There's no nothing. People don't have food. People don't have water, medicine, insulin, oxygen. They don't have nothing. So almost immediately, like one of the planes that came in or whatever, they were like, hey, can you deliver this to, wherever? They gave me a point or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, sure. Or whatever. So then I got this contact, this phone number or whatever. And then Operation Airdrop was there. So I delivered that one or whatever. Then I called that number. They're like, hey, are you going to come by tomorrow or whatever? We're flying out of this Hickory Airport or whatever. We'd love to have you help or whatever. And for the first 3-4 days, I went to Hickory, and I stayed with my buddy Vinny, who also has got a GTD. He's a big social media guy, car guy, and he welcomed me into his home. I was sleeping in his basement for 7 or 8 days, helping out. I'd get up there in the morning, fly up to the airport. You'd have these like mission cards. And the first thing we did for 3-4 days is they had locations, GPS locations of like fire department, police stations, or a church. And your job was, as a helicopter pilot, was try to get a Starlink to somebody in the community, so that people in the community could get resources. So I delivered Starlinks for 3-4 days. So you take a few cases of water with you, some MREs and stuff for food, and deliver Starlinks. And it was some of the most epic flying I ever did in my life. I was landing on little league fields and ballparks. I was landing at intersections, Walmart parking lots, like cemeteries, like anywhere I could find a spot to put a helicopter down in a mountain. I was doing it. It was some of the most incredible things that I ever got to do. Some of the worst stuff I ever got to see, but also one of the most rewarding things I ever did. I did it for about 8 days straight. I flew for 68 hours straight, pretty much, or 68 hours total in 7-8 days, which is a ton of flying.
Yeah.
So I finally called it. My last day was like, I wasn't focused anymore. Like, I was so tired. I was like, can't do this anymore. Like, I finally called it, but yeah, because it got tough. And at that point, yeah, it was way too dangerous to keep going. But
that's really cool. And it's like kind of a neat way to give back to, if you're that kind of person as well,
Mm-hmm.
and you want to do philanthropic stuff, and to be able to have a pilot license.
Yeah.
And the
Spend a ton of money doing it or whatever,
Yeah.
but it was worth every penny.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was all my own money. I love, we don't got to get political or nothing like that, but there was, you watch on TV and all the governments there helping, they really weren't. There was 100 civilian helicopters to every one military, maybe. And the military guy, I actually delivered military guys out to areas a few different times. And those guys were there donating their own time. They weren't even there with the government. So it was incredible. It was really cool to see humanity come together for something like that, though, because there was people, Joe Smo's dropping off water and diapers, and then all these people were organizing all this stuff, and then food, water, airplanes were flying in supplies. People were delivering supplies in dump trucks, and people were organizing it all. And then you get these mission cards, this town needs insulin, they need baby food, they need baby formula, they need a person rescued. And you would get these cards, they deliver right to your helicopter. Like, it was very organized, and it was really incredible to see that many people come together and actually, make a difference for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Probably saved a lot of lives for sure.
Yeah, super cool.
Yeah.
All right, to close, is there anything else that you would want to tell a lineman or just anybody listening for that matter?
You know, I mean, if you're thinking about something, dreaming about something, like, you know, I got lineman buddies that are doing it right now. They just, for some reason, it's not worth the risk or don't want to risk it, or, you know, there's more to experience in life. Just take that first step. You know, it's really not a risk. Just, if you believe in it enough, it'll happen. You can do it. Just go out and do it, really.
Yeah.
I think.
Well, thank you. I love the saying that you had yesterday is when I heard it for the first time. I heard you say it for the first time. It's like, I just want to provide experiences for people.
Yeah.
And I've really felt that this whole time has been just a checklist of experiences. And you've delivered above and beyond. So thank you.
I want to inspire you. Like, I want to inspire
100%.
everybody and more people, somebody like you, that there's more to life than, you know, what a lot of people are doing, you know. At day to day, there's a lot more, you know. The stuff that we've done in the last couple of days is amazing. I want you to experience it. I want you to take that experience, and I want you to show your kids, and then your kids are going to show their kids, and, you know, what's that? Pay it forward movie there, whatever.
Yeah, 100%.
For sure.
Yeah,
Life would be a lot better for a lot of people if more people were like that.
True story.
Yeah.
True story. Well, I appreciate it, dude. Thank you.
Dude.
This content is completely free. All right. The only thing I'm asking you for is to hit that subscribe button. And I know it's cheesy. I know it's corny. I know every YouTuber asks you to hit that button, and you're probably sick and tired of it. But if you like the show and you want to see the show grow, this is the way I prove to the people in charge that it's worth investing in. So it's pretty simple, and it's the price you can pay for me. It's no money. It's just a subscribe. Please hit the subscribe, and I appreciate the heck out of you for it.